Many organizations are exploring an as-a-service model, but how do you do it successfully and at scale? Welcome to the Circular Future, showcasing stories of circularity that reshaped how businesses operate and how you can do it in your organization too. I'm your host, Stephanie McLarty, Head of Sustainability at Quantum Lifecycle Partners, your trusted partner in electronics circularity. I am so excited to welcome Hilti to the podcast today. Hilti has been around for decades, and about 5 years ago, they began transforming the global construction industry with a bold new circular business model. They have been mentioned on the podcast before. Their tools as a service approach is truly pioneering, and they're proving that circularity at scale is possible. My guest today is Isabel Monteiro, Sustainability Marketing Manager at Hilti. Isabel is a product and innovation leader with over 15 years of global experience. As you'll hear from her, Hilti now has impressive data-driven results, but their journey, like everyone, started somewhere. They focused on staying close to the customer, building trust, and showing up consistently. If you're looking for inspiration on how to make circularity work in the real world, this conversation is for you. We'll get started after this short message.
How easy is it to work with Quantum? We accept anything that uses a plug or battery, including the battery, some pictures, any data destruction requirements, and any batteries in the equipment. We can manage it for you properly and safely.
Welcome to the podcast, Isabel.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here and looking forward for our conversation.
Thank you. I am too. I'm so excited to get into Hilti's story. So first of all, let's start with a question that we ask everyone. And in this case, what would be 3 things that we should know about Hilti?
Yeah, sure. So I think we should start with an introduction. For those who might not know Hilti, we are a global construction technology company, and we work very closely with the professionals on the construction job sites. So we support builders, engineers, owners with our tools, softwares, and services that can drive their productivity, safety, and ultimately a more sustainable construction. Hilti was founded a long time ago, so in 1941, by 2 Hilti brothers in Liechtenstein, which is a small, tiny little country in Europe. And since then has grown into the global construction technology company that we have today. So right now we are operating in 120 countries, and
Wow.
we do have more than 34,000 employees, roughly.
That's huge.
Yeah, we are a big company. And one of the things that I think it's important to know about Hilti is our direct business model. So we actually work together with our customer through a direct business model. So we don't go through distributors. We actually work with builders, engineers, and we are every day in the job sites. So we can really understand, their real challenges, what are their struggle with, and we then can offer our tailored solutions and with that build the long-term partnerships with our customers. So at the end of the day, Hilti is not just selling tools or other materials for the construction site. We actually support how work actually gets done every day. So because of that direct relationship, we have very easy access to feedback. So we are with our customers every day in the construction job sites, so we can actually gather input about our solutions, our materials. So we capture that feedback and we share across the organization, and that becomes a driver for innovation. So due to that feedback, we are then able to, shape up the design of our products, improve our services, improve our digital solutions, etc.
That's so cool. And yeah, that would be a really huge benefit of working directly with your customers versus just selling, say, tools through a third party. Wow, that's so neat. And I'm sure that plays into the whole circularity story as well. So, speaking
Yeah.
of which, we have talked about Hilti on the podcast before. So, on episode 54, Stories of Circular Business Transformation, Andrew Telfer brought up Hilti as a really innovative story around your tools as a service model. That's my explanation of it. I'm sure you're going to explain it differently.
Yeah.
But I'm so impressed by what you've been able to do and what you've been able to do at scale with this. So I'm really excited to unpack it. But first, can you tell me a little bit more about how circularity comes to life at Hilti?
Yeah. Talking about circularity at Hilti it's really about keeping the tools and the materials in use for as long as possible, as long as we can, and try to reduce the waste. And this is very, very important in the construction industry because the construction industry has a huge impact. So it's very, it empowers a lot of things in our society, but it also contributes a lot for the carbon footprint. So the last time I checked, we construction industry, we were responsible for close to 40% of the global carbon emissions. And we also are responsible for, I think it's roughly half of the extraction of the virgin materials. So we, Hilti, because we are part of this industry, we really wanted to make a difference and help the industry to become a better place and help the industry to, minimize the carbon footprint, not only as a corporation, but also as an industry, and also help our customers to achieve their sustainability goals. So that's kind of where all this sustainability, let's say, journey started for us. It started like 4 or 5 years ago, and it's really embedded in our strategy. So if you look at our customer promise, we want to be the best partner for productivity, safety, and sustainability. So it's very embedded in the way we operate and how we help our customer towards that goals. And circularity plays a huge role in there. So circularity for us actually starts right in the beginning, right at the design stage. So our tools are actually designed not just for performance, but for multiple life cycles. So we really design our tools to come back and come back. And when I say this, normally sometimes it surprises people because it's not very it's very unusual, especially on the construction industry, but it's very intentional. Like I said, it's really part of our sustainability strategy. And what we do is that, first of all, we really design with the durability in mind. So we really want our tools to stand all those, tough, harsh job site conditions.
Right.
So we take that into our design, but also repairability. So we really want, those key components that can be replaced in the future instead of just, scrapping the entire tool. The third thing that we incorporate in the design is the opportunity of disassembly. So we really want the opportunity for, when the tool reaches the end of life, we want to be able to recover the materials, reuse them, or properly recycled, whatever that case is. So I think our foundation in circularity is really this combination of durability, repairability, and design for disassembly. And that's what allows our tools to come back again and again, pretty much. I would say the design is just the beginning. So the design itself alone isn't enough. And the real question for us is that, okay, how do we how do we make circularity actually work at scale? And this is where our fleet management program, the tool as a service model that you mentioned in your question, this plays a critical role in our circularity ecosystem. And if I can explain this in like a nutshell,
Sure.
the fleet management program is again a tool as a service model. So instead of our customers buying tools and owing them forever, they subscribe to those tools, and it's based on their needs. So we actually work very closely with them to understand, their projects, their needs, so we can optimize their tool park, and we make sure that they have the right tools for their actual needs. So as weirdly as it sounds, we want them to have less Hilti tools, because the sustainability part actually starts with that. So we actually mention a lot our 3R approach, which is reduce, reuse, and recycle. And the first part is actually working with our customers to make sure that they have the right amount of tools. So not too many, not too few, just the amount of tools that they need.
I'm so impressed, really. I mean, I've been on your website and even noticed on your website how much you call out the impact of the industry, of the construction industry, and then how you can be part of that solution. And you've reduced your emissions by 60%. Like, you walk your talk. And in terms of the circular economy, reducing waste or even eliminating waste from the get-go is a core principle. Like, these are things that you're like a living example of how a business can be circular and offer circular systems and opportunities for their customers. And you were really a pioneer in this, to my knowledge.
And it's really like we started this journey, I would say, like 4 or 5 years ago, but we stayed like consistent. And I think this is also the secret, like, the recipe for everything to work, because we, start with small steps, but we really stay focused. And if you look at our entire strategy, it's about, the way we operate as a company, but also what we offer to our customers. So even beyond our circularity program, we have, all those things that we do with the cars that we drive every day to visit our customers, the way we make sure that our facilities are operating in a more sustainable way. So we also give back to the community. We have every employee that works for Hilti has access to 2 days that they can give back to the community. They can volunteer. So in Hilti, it's this very holistical approach of, we want to make sure that we minimize our environmental footprint, but at the same time, we help our customers to achieve their sustainability goals. And that's kind of, I think, what we stay consistent here, and we work every day to make sure that we help the construction industry to become a better place. Pretty much.
Yeah. It's like there are win-win solutions in this, and this is a great example. So can we unpack your fleet management service a little bit more, that as a service where you don't sell the tools, but you sell the service of having tools? Can you explain a little bit more about how this works and really what the tangible business outcomes are for your organization, for Hilti, and the customer?
With this program, I think the difference is that Hilti keeps the ownership of the tool. So we remain responsible for everything that happens during the life cycle. So maintenance, repairs, and of course, what happened at the end of the tool's life. And from a circularity standpoint, this model is incredibly powerful. This is literally what feeds our entire circularity ecosystem, because tools are designed to come back to us by default. So instead of being, forgotten or moving to a landfill when they still have some life left, we can actively manage what happens next. And when those tools come back to us, this is where a circularity turns into something that it's, tangible. Is not this thing anymore that everybody's talking about. It's something that it's tangible and we can measure and put some numbers behind. So at that point, when those tools come back to us, we have several pathways. So in some cases, those return tools become source of spare parts. So when we have components that still meet our strict quality and safety standards, we extract those components and we reuse them in future repairs. That helps us to give life to other tools, but at the same time, we are also reducing the need of new parts. So it's virgin materials that we don't extract pretty much.
For sure.
The second stream of our circularity program is tools that go straight back into active use through programs like loan tools or tools on demand. So imagine that we have certain customers and there was a change in the project and they have a spike on workload and they need 3 extra hammers. So this is when they can go through our loan program and they can just, get those tools for 2-3 months, depending on those needs. So we do have a lot of those tools that are coming back that are either full repaired or refurbished and then go straight back into action, let's say. The third stream is our donation stream. So we also select some of those tools and we donate them to nonprofit organizations or trade schools, educational schools. And in those cases, those tools, they continue to, create value and supporting education and giving back to the community. So this gives those tools a meaningful second life beyond, the commercial use that they had in the past. And finally, when we have those tools that, truly reach the end of its life, we then disassemble everything and we work with our partners to make sure that we recycle that properly.
Yeah, awesome. And I think I read somewhere where so you're not only just providing the tools for the contractors, but there's also a guarantee of uptime. So if there is an issue, then they'll get like a replacement like within a certain amount of time. So basically they have very little downtime, which if you own the tool yourself, you like that would cause you a whole bunch of time and potentially lost productivity.
Yeah. And actually the original idea behind fleet management was because we saw that need in the market. So many of our customers, they were, either overbuying tools or they were struggling with inventory, they were losing tools, they were dealing with the high maintenance cost and downtime. So that was what triggered this offering. So instead of selling them tools, we kind of shift to providing tools as a service. So, customers now pay the use of the tools and the performance rather the ownership. And then, sustainability kind of came naturally. That was a natural outcome of that model because we remain responsible for those tools. So we need to kind of, control and be responsible to what happened when our customers don't need those tools anymore. But for the customer is exactly that, they have the amount of tools that they need. They don't have to overbuy and waste. And also they don't have to worry about disposal or end of life responsibility of that tools. We also offered, repairs. If something happens with a tool, we automatically change those tools to our customers. So there is a lot of things that our fleet, the customers that are on fleet, they can benefit from that. Most of our tools are in our Neuron platform. So Neuron platform is, instead of having several tools in different types of batteries, now we have one battery platform that can, power the entire range of tools, including the heavy duty. So for the customer is also a big advantage because, everything is in the same platform. They have less batteries to handle at the job site. It's less complexity. And also those batteries are connected when it comes to data. So it's also a big advantage for our customers because they have access to the data. They can, more proactively manage maintenance. They can see if the tools are being used or not. So all of that thing, it's also included in the fleet management and all the data that our customer can have access to.
That is so smart. And like, wow, just to have one system to really worry about, to have all that data. I mean, this for me really underscores the principle of the circular economy, which is access over ownership. You have access to things, but you don't necessarily need to own things. And there's so many benefits that happen when you give this smart way to access. In this case, it's tools and all of the related products that go with it. So I think that's so neat. And clearly you're doing this at a really big scale. You are a global company. And scaling this, I'm sure, I would imagine there's challenges along the way. But how have you scaled this? Because that is such an important piece of this whole conversation around how this can work, especially for a company the size of Hilti.
Yeah, that's a great question. Those circular systems really work when you can operate them at a scale, but it's not easy. And I think you need to start small. You don't have to boil the ocean in the beginning. You really have to, start small and stay committed. But it's not easy. So it takes a lot of, alignment, discipline. I also think there is a need of different way of thinking, not only internally, but also externally. So in our case, from what I explained before, everything that feeds our system is related to the tools that we get from the fleet management after the contract, after our customers, they don't need them anymore. So there is also this different way of thinking and this mindset shift that it's needed. One of the challenges that we faced in the beginning when we were building this circular system was actually to work globally, like you said in your question. So across the different regions and the markets. So if you think about North America, for example, where I work in, it's United States and Canada. And United States, it's a huge country. So how do we coordinate repairs, refurbishment, reuse, donations, cross-border things? So it's very complex and it requires a lot of new process, stronger cross-functional collaboration. So in our case, again, we started small, so we didn't want to have a circular system, everywhere. You need to start small and then slowly but surely, escalate things. We do that as in a regional level. So here in North America, we started in Irving. It's in Texas where we have our circular facility, and we are now expanding to other locations. But that's something that the piece of the advice is start small, but stay committed because eventually you will get to this scale that you are looking for. Another aspect was also the quality and safety part of it. So circularity only works if our customers really trust the tools that they're getting, no matter if it's, a new tool or a refurbished tool, reused tool. So that really pushed us, Hilti, to develop very strict testing and quality standards. So we wanted to make sure that every tool that was re-entering the system was going through a lot of quality checks to ensure that it meets the same performance, but also safety standards that our customers are used to. So we never compromise on that. And I also think that this trust it's essential for scaling the program. This also required a lot of effort and coordination from our side to make sure that we had those strict plans in place and quality checks to make sure that the tools were at the right performance and the right safety. And the third one is really this mindset shift that I was talking about. So circularity really, it changes the traditional way of doing things, right? Of making, selling it, and replace stuff. So we really had to help our internal teams and our customers to really see the value of keeping products in use longer. So with our fleet management, again, we have a lot of different benefits that we can give to our customers. And it's not just about sustainability and circularity, but clearly it's, something that we can offer to our customers, and we use that to also raise the awareness of going into a more circular model rather than the linear one that we are used to.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I noticed on your website there's a circular construction guide. So basically for your customers on how they can make their business more circular. And yeah, it's all about educating and sort of leading the way, I think, for them.
Yeah, because the more, like I said, we have a direct business model, so we really contact with our customers every day, and
Right.
we come across sometimes, we have different types of customers. Some of them are really aware. They are also the pioneers on sustainability, and they are transforming the industry. But the others, this is like a new topic. It's a new journey. So we actually also take the time to, educate our customers, to really explain our sustainability journey, what we are doing to minimize our carbon footprint, and with that kind of playing a role on that. It's not
Yeah.
that not all the customers are at the same level when it comes to sustainability and circularity. So we really have to, shape our conversation and meet them halfway to really kind of, educate them and be part of this transformation. So
Yeah.
that's why we have all of these documents that you mentioned. So kind of explain what a circular model is versus a linear one, so they can, start to get into the topic and be part of this transformation together with us.
I love that. Yeah, and for those of us who work in this space, it might seem obvious, but for those who don't, like, what is a circular economy versus a linear one? Like, it's really important to educate them and meet them where they're at, as you say. I am sure there are lots of organizations out there who have been considering an as a service model, and Hilti is just such a great example of how you've done it and are doing it and are doing it well. As you think back, what are the learnings that stand out as most valuable to you that you would say to those people or those organizations who are thinking about this and thinking about an as a service model?
Yeah, I think I answered a little bit of your question, but yeah, if I look back, a few learnings really stand out. And so the first one, it's the circularity really needs to be embedded. It needs to be built into the business model. We should not treat sustainability or circularity as a side project, because that would never work. So it only really scales when it's embedded in, how the business operate, how you think about product design, how you manage your assets, and really what happens at the end of the product's life. And again, if it sits in one side and it's disconnected from the core, it's very hard to scale or even sustain this. So that's kind of the first piece of advice. Although Hilti is, the pioneer in our industry, this is also new to us. Like when I say 4 or 5 years ago, like we did a lot of progress, and the numbers speak by themselves. I think in the first year we reused like 10,000 spare parts. Now we are over 200,000, and we did
Oh,
that
wow.
in a span of 4 or 5 years. But it's not that we started big right in the first year. There was, a lot of learning, a lot of different process, different things that we had to do to really make this happen. The second learning, it's around quality and consistency. Like I said, we never compromise on that, and we need to make sure that we meet the same standards as traditional manufacturers, because we have to build this trust. And I think trust is also the foundation of circularity. And if the customers don't trust the product, the system just it doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah. And the third one, it's really start small. Like I normally say that this is like, getting fit. You don't train for a marathon in one day. So you really start small, you stay consistent, and over time, you will see the progress, and you don't have to solve everything. So in our case, every repair tool counts, every use opportunity, every donation makes a difference. And it's really a matters on, long-term commitment and continuous improvement. The other thing that I think it makes difference for, the organizations that they're trying to go into this route, it's really the transparency on data. So I think when people really start to see, the amount of spare parts that we reuse, the amount of tools that didn't ended up in a landfill, the pounds that we are recycling, this is when circularity moves from this abstract concept to really something tangible that you can see. And I really, encourage people, if you are interested, to look at our annual report that we launched in March. So it was the first time that Hilti incorporates the financial report together with the sustainability report. And this is really, it's a sign that sustainability is part of our business. It's just the way we do things. So for us, it didn't make sense to have a financial report and then a sustainability report. It's just part of what we do and what we are. And if you can, get to those numbers and really show that we are making a difference, but also for the business, it makes difference. This is when, conversation starts to be more easy. But again, it's not a walk in the park. It's not something that you can do from one day to another. You really have to start small, stay consistent, and eventually you will be able to, set up your own circularity program, whatever that looks for you.
Yeah, I love that. Start small, stay consistent, trust. How much trust and being close to your customer figures into this as well. So you have that direct line of feedback. The data transparency, I think, is huge in this case. And that then just helps to feed the model, right? It shows the success when you show the data. So neat. So many interesting lessons out of this. And yeah, I commend you and the whole team at Hilti for really this tangible success story of circularity. So thank you. As we close this off, any quick last piece of advice you want to leave listeners with?
No, it's a program that we are really proud of. Again, it's not something that we have for a long time. It's just for 4 or 5 years, but it's really something that allows us to, minimize our carbon footprint, but also gives back to the community. So it kind of ties everything together. And for Hilti, this makes totally sense, and this is something that we will continue to scale year after year, because we are committed to this journey. We are actually SBTI committed. We have a target to become net zero in 2050. So we are making efforts year after year to make sure we have the right initiatives in place to continue this journey and help our customers in the industry to become a better place.
Love it. Thanks so much, Isabel. And remember, if you are looking for a partner to help you manage the life cycle of electronics, we'd love to chat. Head on over to quantumlifecycle.com and contact us. This is the Quantum Lifecycle podcast, and the producer is Sanjay Trivedi. Thank you for being a circular future champion in your company and beyond. Logging off.